Unitarian public, when they see my protest, are either neutral or overwhelmingly supportive as opposed to negative. In other words, the vast majority of them, I don't have a clue one way or the other what they're thinking. They're essentially neutral in terms of response. But those that do respond, they respond generally more positively than negatively. So anyhow, a couple of people coming out of church, and that's exactly why I'm still here. You know, I arrived late, so I said, what the heck, you know, I'll stick around and continue to protest as people are leaving the church, since I basically was, you know, half an hour to 3/4 of an hour late showing up. You know, when I woke up this morning, I looked out my window. It was covered in rain droplets. It was gray and dull outside. It wasn't absolutely clear if it was still raining, but it didn't look too good. And I actually said, forget it. I'll just do my, you know, protest on the internet instead. I won't even bother protesting today. Give them a little break. Because I've been protesting almost every single Sunday for more than a year now. There's just a small handful of Sundays where I did not protest, and that's because I was out of town. It was like physically impossible for me to be here. I think there's only one or at most two Sundays where I could have protested and didn't because of weather or something else. So I've been very, very consistent with my protesting for the last year, and indeed more than a year. And I'll probably keep it up for at least another 7-8 months so I can celebrate the 20th anniversary of protesting outside the Unitarian Church of Montreal in May of 2018. So yes, looking forward to well, actually, it's 20 years since I began the protest. But there was one year where I couldn't protest because Reverend Diane Rollert and various other Montreal Unitarians, you know, basically claimed to be very frightened of me, and some of them even thought claimed that I was going to come into the church and shoot them to death and all that kind of bullshit. You know, yes, they actually wrote depositions to the police, you know, trying to, well, basically sharing their paranoid fantasies with the police, obviously. Anyhow, as a result of that, and I do believe this was a cynical misuse of the criminal justice system. Good day, sir. Hope you're proud of belonging to a church that misuses blasphemy law to hide pedophilia and rape, or at least visiting one. Anyhow, it gave me a smarmy little smile, so I figured I'd say something. It didn't look like a friendly smile. It looked like a, you know, sort of superior, condescending kind of smile. So anyhow, getting back to things, whereas I will be able to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the beginning of my protest in May of May of 2018. It began in May of 1998. I will not be able to celebrate 20 full years of protesting because there was a 1-year period in which I was basically prevented from protesting because Reverend Diane Rollert and Sue Montgomery and various other Montreal Unitarians, you know, managed to convince one of the worst judges in Quebec that I was like such a threat to them that it warranted forcing me to sign a peace bond. So yes, there was a 1-year period in the late 2000s. That's 2008-ish. Yeah, 2008, 2009. Where I could not protest because Reverend Diane Rollert and Sue Montgomery and a few other people made depositions to the police and made, I think, you know, either perjurious or paranoid testimony in court and persuaded one of the worst judges in Quebec. Don't mind naming her, Judge Roland Matt, who is no longer a Quebec court judge precisely because she was one of the worst judges in Quebec, to force me to sign a peace order that basically prevented me from being anywhere near the Unitarian Church of Montreal for a one-year period. So yes, it will only be in 2019 that I'll be able to celebrate 20 full years of protesting outside the Unitarian Church of Montreal. And I look forward to doing that if the Unitarian Church of Montreal doesn't pull its head out of his ass and deal responsibly with my reasons for protest before May of 2019. And I certainly look forward to celebrating the 20th anniversary of the beginning of my protest in May of 2018, because I have zero intention of ending it or even suspending it between now and then. I have in the past offered to suspend my protest for 2 months and sometimes even 3 months if Montreal Unitarians agreed to enter into dialogue with me towards the end of, practicing justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, and working to resolve the conflict by dealing responsibly with all of the injustices and abuses and hypocrisy that I'm protesting against. But they've always ignored or rejected those offers. The most recent offer I made was this summer. In July, I offered not to the Unitarian Church of Montreal or any representative of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, but to the new president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, Reverend, what's her name, Susan Frederick Gray. So yes, Reverend Susan Frederick Gray was elected as the first female elected president of the Unitarian Universalist Association in June of this year. And so a month or so after she was elected, in a comment on one of her Facebook posts, very generously offered to her that I was prepared to suspend my protest for a minimum of 2 months, and that suspension could continue indefinitely as long as, they were working towards justice and equity, saying I think compassion in human relations. Essentially, if she agreed to enter into dialogue with me towards the end of resolving the conflict, but she ignored that offer and basically buried it. So, I have actually given some thought to making the same offer to the current president of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, but I decided not to. We are so close to the 20th anniversary of the beginning of my protest in May of 1998 that I decided, you know what, I'm not going to suspend my protest for 2 months, just coming up to the 20th anniversary. I'll keep protesting and we'll see what happens. So I intend to continue protesting quite regularly outside the Unitarian Church of Montreal, and indeed some other places. I will be protesting issues related to this elsewhere in the very near future, possibly as early as tomorrow. And yeah, so I basically intend to keep the protest going right up until May of 1998. And then at that point, I may make another offer to suspend the protest for a couple of months if Montreal Unitarians and or representatives of the Unitarian Universalist Association agree to enter into dialogue with me towards the end of resolving the conflict. But I just don't see the point of suspending the protest right now when it's so close to celebrating 20 years of protest, or at least the 20th anniversary of beginning the protest, 19 years of protest. What do we got here? Yeah, getting to the end of a half-hour segment here. So anyhow, there's still some people coming out. I think what I'll do is once this segment ends, I will start up. I'll continue for at least another 10 or 15 minutes. You know, you never know what'll happen. And got a couple of people here. Getting some sidelong glances from the gentleman, or not so gentleman. After all, he is totally complicit in his religious communities, immoral and unethical and borderline criminal and quite frankly batshit crazy. Attempted misuse of Canada's blasphemy law and legal bullying intended to hide such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. Every single Montreal Unitarian who ignores my protest against the Unitarian Universalist Association's false blasphemous libel accusation against me is complicit in that false blasphemous libel accusation against me, and thus complicit in Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of the worst forms of clergy sex abuse. I'm having a wonderful time, sir. A wonderful time. You have no idea how much fun it is to be accused of blasphemy by Unitarians, especially atheist Unitarians, in the 21st century. A huge honor and privilege, sir. Oh, that was recorded. I was so afraid that that was not going to be recorded. I was like so afraid that the tape, as it were, was going to run out. Oh, I am so happy that that was recorded. That made my day. This guy comes out and sort of stares at me and asks me if I'm having a good time. Well, of course I'm having a good time, sir. How many people get to be accused of blasphemy by atheist Unitarians in the 21st century? I think I'm the only person in the world who has that unique honor and privilege. And what a wonderful way to wrap up today's protest. Because yeah, we're just about there. We got about 30, not even 30 seconds, 20 seconds of recording. Oh, I'm so happy that that was recorded. See, look, I'm laughing again. Laughing is indeed the shortest distance between two people, whether you're laughing with them or you're laughing at them. Yes, I think I'm having the last laugh today. I'll probably have the last laugh in this whole fiasco eventually. Taking much longer than expected.